Matt Thibeau, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm amazing. Thanks for asking. So, folks, we have here Matt Thibeau. He's a direct response marketing consultant and founder of Savant Marketing Agency. He's the creator of the seven-step marketing method, an automated marketing funnel proven to increase lead flow and generate more sales. Known for producing tangible marketing results quickly, making one of his clients $10,000 profit in just 13 days, Matt understands what it takes to create winning ads. This segment is going to be great. It's going to be great. How you doing, man? So keeping busy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. As good as you can do right now these days. I know people are having a tough time, but regardless, I'm doing very good. I've recently started running, stay active, and went out on the
Nice.
bike. Staying busy with business still. So things are good, man. How are you?
I'm awesome. Things today were very hectic, but overall, things are amazing. We get to do this stuff. This is kind of like, after a busy day, we get to tune in and talk to some really great people. So I'm enjoying that thing, particularly because, I'm not as active as you are. I take walks, but I'm not gonna run, man. Business is good.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Excellent.
it's been a challenge with some of the stuff that's coming up, but if you're in my newsletter on my email list, you'll know that I came up with a strategy for my clients to still secure a lot of jobs. Like, as you might know, we work with a lot of contractors, and
Yeah.
currently right now they can't be working, especially if it's like landscaping or renovations or anything like that. Lawn maintenance has opened up, so that's a great sign. But we came up with a good strategy for them to at least get a little bit of traction and secure some deposits. So that's great.
Awesome. That's amazing. So as you can see by the title, we have Traffic Secrets Revealed with Matt Thibeau. So I'm quite familiar with what you do and what you do exceptionally well with contractors in the direct response field. So it is advertising, it's direct response, but you're getting tremendous results. It blows my mind.
It blows
Um,
my mind sometimes too.
yeah, that's awesome. It's amazing when we're just like, wow, I can't believe this is working so well. But I mean, you've been at this for 4 years now?
Yeah, 4 years with my own company, but I've been doing it for about maybe 5 or 6 years at this point.
Okay. Yeah, you've had some really, really good growth in the last year, I've seen.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's just you're all over the place. You're putting out some really interesting stories that are engaging. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, is there a type of, are you aiming for direct response when you're posting on social media?
I mean, when I'm posting on social media, I got like my main mandate, honestly, is just to help people first off. But I think more so, everyone knows that consultant or that business owner on social media who's always giving tips and all that stuff. And what they're missing is, they're missing the proof of that they actually know what they're talking about. But what they're also missing is the entertainment factor, right? And so I'm not saying that you should like force entertainment or something if that's not the type of person, but I like to have fun, and you're similar. I've
Mhm.
seen the stuff that you post. So like for me on social media, I love to have fun, and I think people enjoy that too. And so I try to put that across in a lot of my content and my stories. I like to be silly as well, right?
Yeah, they're really good. I enjoy them. Um, so it is about just your visibility at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are all stories that, you can definitely relate. As a business owner along the way, especially in the early days, you're going to learn a lot of lessons, and you're probably going to go through some stuff that's not so much fun, or maybe it's, just some funny story or something like that. And I think every entrepreneur can relate to that in their early years of, whether it was a weird client or a weird situation or yada, yada. And so I just document my journey, along the way, and people seem to enjoy that. And a good plus side of it is it gives me business, but I do it mostly just because I love to write as well. I'm a writer,
Mm,
so it's something I do as a pastime, and it's something that I do also for moving my business forward. So
yeah, just a quick note on that. I remember meeting with Matt, and you write on your phone. as you're going throughout the day, right? Ideas, and you're like, I'm just writing a post, and then you're able to just put it down and continue with like your meeting or conversation that you're having. But then
Yeah.
when you have a bigger amount of time, you're like, you keep adding to your story. It's a neat way to watch your work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because it's something that I put a lot of work into. But I think, everybody has a moment in time in their day or their week that's funny or interesting, but they just don't take note of it or document it. So when I started doing more of the social media stuff and trying to put myself out there more, I just started documenting things in my life. If I'm just walking on the street and I see an ad that kind of triggers a thought, I open up my iPhone notes, maybe an idea I have for content. A lot of people, when they want to write content, they sit down at their computer and they're like, all right, what am I going to write about today? Well, that's not how life works, right? And so what works a lot better is if you go throughout your life and you create the habit of constantly taking notes of like, what do I want to talk about, blah, blah, blah. So then when you do sit down to write, you just open up your phone and you have all these ideas and all these things to talk about.
Yeah. I actually want to dive into some stuff previous into your life and stuff too, but I want to ask you a question about this. I take notes also, and I'm sure other people out there are taking notes and voice notes or going through their memos and whatnot throughout the day. Do you have any tips on following up on your own notes? Because I never do. Like I rarely do. I have so many notes, so many ideas that come to me, but you have to take that time, to go through them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just building the habit now for me, just because when I'm writing, I'm like, all right, like let's go to the note bank. But if there are notes about like other things, like just random business ideas and all that, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. I'm guilty of that too. I would just say personally, it's that idea then probably wasn't that important to you, so you forgot about it or something, So it was, or you just haven't built that muscle, But if you're forgetting about it and like it just falls to the wayside, then it probably wasn't that important. So that's why I think with what I do with the iPhone notes, it's reserved only for the content creation. Like there's nothing really else on there apart from some notes from some mentors, that if I'm watching seminars or something like that, I got them saved in here as PDFs. But on my notes section, that's only for content creation. So.
Very cool. Very nice. Yeah, some people use Post-its for their to-do list and memos for content ideas and whatnot and business ideas. I've had this.
Person. I'm just gonna say that if it's organization, like that's something that I've had to build systems in my business to allow that to be like up to par, But if it's my personal life, like my bedroom, I gotta stay on top of cleaning that all the time. Like that's something that is always my I always have to be working on.
Takes the back burner. Yeah, I like what you said about working that muscle.
Yeah,
it's just one of those habitual things. I'm some people use email templates to send out these things. I always write mine from scratch. I don't know why. It just feels like I'm putting more emotion into it and like building that relationship.
Oh, you should always write an email. I mean, you need some kind of structure to how you write a promotional email, but it should always be from scratch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's dive a little bit into early life of Matt, because you've done some interesting things. What motivated you to become an entrepreneur?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like it's funny. I feel like in every interview I reveal a little bit about my past, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." The truth is I've done so much stuff at this point that it's kind of like after a while, something's got to stick. But I think at the core of it, what's really drove me to want to be an entrepreneur is that I always, you remember when you were a kid and you would always do something that was fun. I know for you, you like to play guitar, and you've been in bands and stuff. And when you're a kid, doing those things that you're passionate about and just kind of exploring and having that excitement in your life. I found that, for me, that was cycling growing up. Is I loved riding my bike, and every day that I would go out would be a new adventure. And I just found, when I had to get a cell phone in early high school, I think, my parents didn't want to pay for it, so I had to pay for it. And I didn't have any money, and I didn't have a job. So, back then, like, if I needed money, I had to, do something to get it, So I started buying and selling things from like Kijiji or China, you know, buying stuff off of AliExpress. And so for me, I just wasn't willing to let go of that childish nature and that fun and go out and get a job and give up all those dreams. I wasn't willing to let all that go. That was a non-negotiable for me. I would rather, you know, for me personally, I always said when I was younger, I'd rather make $60,000 a year doing my own thing than like $100,000 a year working at a company I hated. So I just wasn't willing to settle for it, and I just was stubborn, and I stuck to it, and I wanted to build my own thing.
Very cool. Persistence is key.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of your first sales experiences.
Oh, my first sales experiences. Well, one of the early businesses that I had when I was in high school is pretty funny. I went to a school where there was kind of like a lot of gangsters, like high school there. There was a lot of, you know, like cool hip hop type people. And I guess that wasn't a really cool thing to say, but you know, what really started to blow up was these things called Zippos. So they're these little lighters, you know, that you can flip, and they have all these different designs on them and everything. And I noticed that they were becoming more and more popular, and it was becoming a trend. Now, I consider myself pretty good at catching trends. So when I saw this happening, immediately in my mind, it started just thinking like, there's a business opportunity here. And this is when I'm like, frig, man, I think I was like 14 years old or something like that. And I was like, there's a business opportunity here. So I asked one of the guys, I said, where'd you buy that from? And how much did you buy it for? And I think he said he bought it at the mall for like $60. And I was like, wow, $60 for like a lighter, you know? It had like the cool design on it and everything. $60 for a lighter, damn, I could probably beat that. So I went home that night, and I was lucky because a friend of mine was ordering a lot of stuff off of China, just like electronics and stuff. He was a bit of like a tech geek. And this was like when AliExpress and Alibaba was not like a mainstream thing, you know? And I went on there and I typed in Zippo lighter, and the first result came up, and it was a bunch of these different Zippo lighter designs. It comes in, I think it had like a minimum order of like 250 of these things. And I think it was $100 to have them all shipped, or like even less. Shipped to your door, $100 for like 250 of these things with different designs, all ready to go. And I was like, sold, let's do it. I didn't have much money, but I was like, you know what? This is worth the experiment. So they came into the door, and I will never forget when they came in the door in this big package, and my dad just looks at me, and it has my name on it. My dad just looks at me, and he's just like, what are you doing? Because I was always up for these schemes, you know, always trying to do these schemes. And he's like, what are you doing now? I was like, just watch. This is going to work out. And it did work out. I went to school, and I filled up my locker with all these lighters. And I walked around at lunch, and I was selling them for $20 a pop. And I think it came out like each one though was like $1 or like a cent, like 5 cents or 20 cents or something like that. You know, it cost nothing, but the margins were huge, and it was the same quality. It was crazy. So I sold them for $20 a pop to pretty much, oh my gosh, the entire school had them. And then I quickly figured out too that you could upsell the lighters if they had fluid in them too. So, you know, I can't remember the deal I did, but it was like a little bit more. You get it with fluid included in it. And then I give you like a bottle with it too. So my entire locker was filled up with all these lighters and lighter fluid and everything. And I distinctly remember getting like a bunch of texts before lunch, and I skipped out of math class early, went to my locker, grabbed the stuff, go into the bathroom, sat on the toilet, and was filling up these things with the lighter fluid and getting them ready. Long story short, I sold every single lighter to our school and to the school next to us, but I got shut down quickly because someone told on me for having the lighter fluid in my locker.
Yeah, of course.
And the principal was just like, "What are you doing?"
I'm making money.
Yeah, so that was one of the early ventures.
Very cool. I mean, you and I are very similar in that way, right? Because same with my family. It was like, you want an electric guitar and an amp and all that stuff. And I was looking at like really good stuff. You got to buy it yourself.
Yeah.
Like we don't have that money. You know, like it's not, you know, earn it type thing. So you get looking at certain things. I like your approach, though. I like you're like, there's a business idea here, and then that little offer,
Yeah.
a full Zippo, it's just a little bit more. Meanwhile, your bottle of liquid costs you $2, but
yeah, because I got the liquid at wholesale too, and I remember I figured out kind of a lead gen strategy. What I would do is there was a floor in the bottom of my high school. I can't remember the name of what we called it, but at lunch, that was kind of where all the cool kids hung out. And I would just go around that place in the corner there, and I learned a couple Zippo tricks. So I learned how to do like tricks to light the Zippo and like a little bit of a performance I learned on YouTube. And so I would just do that in the corner, and people would just come up to me and be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool, man. What are you doing there?" And I'd just be like, "Yeah, like Zippos are really cool, dude. Like that's what I'm doing."
Like your jacket, you're like, "You want one?"
Pretty much, man. Yeah, pretty much. And I would sell them there. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. I love these stories. This is just brilliant.
Yeah.
And so
many more stories. Yeah.
So how was, because you're a biker too. You did trials for a while, didn't you?
Yeah. So trials, if you don't know, is kind of like parkour, but on a bike. So it's all about like jumping up stuff and doing all these crazy tricks. And I started doing that when I was 12 years old. And I took it pretty far. My plan originally was to do that for a living and figure out how to make money from doing that. And I succeeded, but it was kind of the worst thing that ever happened to me too, in succeeding in that, because I realized that, it's kind of like what I spent all these years trying to build up was kind of just, it was better as a hobby and not a career. But, by the time I finished high school, we were doing, I was doing stunt shows for corporate events and charging thousands of dollars to do these events. We had a full setup with ramps and boxes, and I was going out every weekend. And eventually I had to cut the cord on it because I just realized I didn't want to be 40 years old doing bike tricks for a living. So
why not? Some people do stunts in movies forever. I get it though. So basically you're passionate about what you do, and I see that every day.
Yeah.
So it feels like you found a really good niche.
Yeah, because I realized, you know what, Mitch? I realized like at the heart of all the businesses I've done, everything, really what I've enjoyed about it always was the promotion of all of it. Like promoting it, getting it out there, getting the marketing, the theatrics of it all, just the whole process of the marketing process and the messaging. It was fun. And it took me a while to realize that, but when I did realize it, I said earlier in this interview, I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, but the truth is like I've been doing it since I've been like pretty young, because I've had all these other ventures, and they all needed this kind of skill, right?
I think every company does, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why you're here.
Absolutely.
Save the world. So in terms of your business now and what you were doing prior, do you ever touch in like human behavior and just, you're really good at that. You're really good at identifying, like you said, trends.
Yeah.
And you're really good at hooking people to it. Do you ever, or do you just do this unconsciously, where you're able to sort of read people and like create a good demand for them, which is not a lot of people can do?
Yeah, growing up, I always knew that I was a bit different because I always observed what people do. I always like to just stand back and kind of see what people are doing and looking at patterns and questioning things and just being like, why is that? Like, why do people do that? Why are people dressed like that? Why are people, I don't know about you, but growing up, I was always the why guy. And that kind of pissed people off. Like when you're a kid, it's like, well, why is the sky blue? Oh, because it is. Well, why is this? Blah, blah, blah. And it annoyed my parents sometimes, it annoyed my friends, but by asking why constantly things are in question, and you're forced to kind of justify why you do it, right? Mm-hmm. So from a psychological perspective, from an advertising perspective, from a business perspective, when you analyze patterns and you see the way people act, and you understand what moves people, what motivates people, what people tend to be drawn to, then that's something, if you can tap into that and understand that, then that's something that can be extremely powerful. So you asked me, like, am I studying all the time? Well, right over here, like, I have a whole thing of books of psychology and all that. So I'm always studying it, whether it's in a book or if I'm just walking down the street and I see something happen and something's kind of like an idea, out comes the notes and I go, And my girlfriend can attest to that. My friends can attest to that. Everyone sees it. So it's not, it's not a show or something. It's just, it's who I am. It's kind of the way it is. And that's kind of what sparked the idea of savant marketing. It was kind of like, a savant is someone who's got kind of these extraordinary abilities in one area. And I think if it's one ability that I have really, really good in one area, it's understanding how people think.
100%. I will vouch for you. 100%. You've got that.
Thank you.
Amongst many, many things, but you hit the nail on the head right there. Like I said, not everybody could do what you do. You do it with such elegance, I find, and you know what you want too, because you're like, no, I don't feel it. I'm not going to be able to generate results, and you're honest and very humble with that, So you're not just in it for the money. You really genuinely want to help people, and I appreciate that big time. The more I talk to you, the more I'm like, man, we are so alike.
We are very similar.
Just the whole questioning, and I still to this day will drive people crazy by, well, what about that? Well, what is it specifically? And I mean, it's just to get more details that I'm like, okay, now I don't have to make an assumption.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So you have a 7-step marketing method, and I've seen you present this.
Yeah.
Let's go through that a little bit. So we have 7 steps.
Yeah.
Should we start with the first step, or do you want to go through the whole thing, or just give an overview of what the 7-step process is?
I'll just give you a brief overview of it, because it is a very in-depth, extensive system that I've developed over the past my entire career. It's my baby, and I'm very hesitant as well to reveal it openly all the time, and really put it out there always, without doing like some kind of strategy call or something like that. But maybe if you ask nicely, I'll reveal it on this podcast exclusively. But
I don't know if we have enough time, because I did see the presentation, but it really, it hits on all the key components that you need to have. The thing is that not everyone is capable. Like for me, for example, when it comes to copywriting, you're my go-to.
Yeah.
It's not, I just don't have it, right? I know where my strengths are. And so but starting with your method, like the first step all the way to we just touch base on each one of them, because I think those pillars are really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, with any marketing campaign, what I believe the first step is coming up with the unique selling proposition. And so what that is like, what is it about you that makes you different than any other business? And I'll give you an example. Domino's Pizza, when they first started their business, they were operating near kind of like a university type area. And there was a bunch of university kids, and they're partying all the time and doing all that, and so that demographic, they're smoking some illegal substances at the time and partying and all that. So that demographic, when they wanted pizza, really all that they wanted was, I want it to my door fast. That's really all they wanted. They're not, they don't care that it's a type of wood, burning, roasted, that it's made with cheese, that Nuna made fresh from, whatever, and the quality is just right. Like this demographic doesn't care about that. They just want fast. And so that's why Domino's, their unique selling proposition, what they brought in was, hey, it's going to be to your door in 30 minutes or it's free. And that was their unique selling proposition. They were one of the first pizza companies to do that, and you leverage that as a differentiator. So that is what a unique selling proposition is. Now, when I tell this to my clients, or I tell this to people on a podcast or anything, they say, well, my business is different. I can't have a unique selling proposition because our business is either, we got too much red tape, maybe you're a financial advisor or something like that. And then the other thing that people will say is, my business is kind of boring. Like there's no real unique selling proposition that you can introduce there. It's too boring. Well, what I find is that when you're creating a unique selling proposition, it's not about the product or you, it's about the market. So what the people are buying from you. So what is it that the market wants? And then base the unique selling proposition around there. So that's step one of the 7-step marketing method is I sit down with the client. We really, drill down, like, what is it that makes you different that we can put out there as an offer to your audience to incentivize them to really, whether it's a lead or to buy or something. But it's so important to start with the foundation of that, because if you got nothing that's different about you, then no one's going to buy from you. Then it becomes a price game. And you don't want your business to always be a price game. If you're in the industry of a price game and it's just lowest price possible, then, okay, fair be it. Like, all right, then you can do a price match guarantee or something like that. Like Walmart is exceptionally good at that. But, the average small to medium sized business can't afford to drive their prices down just to acquire a customer every time. There needs to be another differentiator. And you see that in my posts, my content. I'm a very big advocate for keeping your prices at a point that allows you to pay your employees fairly, to continue to reinvest into advertising and continue to grow your bottom line.
And so you're not stuck in a position like you're stuck in now, because a lot of people are. You bring up a good point, and then I have a question. The point being, I think I just forgot the point, but the question was a lot of, like, you talk about audience a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would think that audience is the first thing that you want to identify. Like Domino's identified their audience, and they identified a unique selling point. What are your thoughts around that? I know your first step is the offer, probably because your clients know the audience, but
so within the offer comes the research and all that stuff, right? So I'm assuming that, like, when we tackle the offer, we're tackling the research of the audience. So I should have been more clear on that.
That's what I captured, and everything that you said, I was like, so yeah, this includes audience too. It's like, what's your unique offer and to whom, right? And then once you have that, you've got your unique identifier.
You got it.
The point I was going to make while you were talking that just came back to me was the point about how a lot of people who are either starting out or they're just, maybe they've been in business for 10 years, but they're just not at a certain level to compare themselves to a Walmart, right?
Sure.
A lot of people do that. They compare themselves to companies that are massive, that have the capabilities to do a price match. Like, you're not there. No. What you need to do is you need to provide extraordinary value, like what you're talking about right now. Just those two things combined is huge.
And you know what else, Mitch? The biggest problem that I see too is a lot of entrepreneurs, and bless them, they're trying their best, because, like you said, they're modeling these big companies, massive companies. Is they put so much effort on things like, a slogan or their logo or all these things. And I'm not discounting branding, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, a $1 billion company, a slogan for them will make more of a difference, because they're operating, like, a marketing strategy for $1 billion company, a sales strategy, any kind of strategy for them is not the same as a small to medium sized business. They got the cash to spend and burn on, like, things like Super Bowl ads and stuff. Like, they don't need an immediate return on investment. Some of these people, these big companies, like, they'll do a marketing campaign for 2 years before they ever start looking at, like, ROI or anything like that, So when it pains me when I see a business that's doing, maybe $500,000 a year or something like that, and they're obsessing over their slogan or something like that, but they don't even have a unique selling proposition in place. A slogan is just kind of like a cutesy, kind of airy-fairy, feel-good statement, but there's no real value being offered there, right? There's no differentiator. You read it all the time. It's just like the classic slogan I always see is, like, let's say, like, not your average blah, not your average marketer. We're not your average bookkeepers, whatever. It's like, well, you are the average because everyone else is doing this. So.
Yeah, just like, I'm unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah. So Yeah.
I hear you. And it's again with the large company and the modeling, but right now I'm studying directly like with Frank Kern, and I find like I relate so much with that guy. And you said some stuff in the beginning too about like you're like, well, I've done so many things, I'm doing this, doing that, and you're just always firing until something really resonates with you, right? And that's how he was. He's like just a hippie guy. He's like, I don't want to pump gas on my parents' mirror. And he just went out and he tried new things. So that's pretty cool. Let's go to pillar number 2.
Sure. So pillar number 2, once you have the offer and that's created, next then what you got to do is you got to build up your online reputation, which I call reputation management. So, before you go to a restaurant or you go to watch a movie or you see something on Netflix, most people will check out reviews, right? And so what I do here in this step is, sometimes we'll have to do a bit of damage control for a company, but most of the time it's just coming up with a systematic, easy, and ethical way to get reviews from your clients or your customers so that you can showcase that on maybe your Google My Business, on Facebook, Yelp, yada, yada, so that when someone sees your ad, they're not going to just straight up like submit for a quote and then move forward and go. Some people will, but a lot of the time they're going to go back and research you and just double check that you're a legit person that they can trust and that other people have had a good experience and that you can do the job well, right? And so in this step, I basically consult my clients on how to easily and ethically get those reviews that they deserve, that they're not collecting, so that they can increase response.
Right. And there is a good right time to get the review, right?
Absolutely. So what I always teach my clients, I'll give you a little tidbit here, is right after you deliver the service, right after you deliver the product, and you experience that the client or the customer is super uplifted and happy, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. That is the time to ask for a testimonial or a review, because they're in a peak state of excitement where their response and what they give you is going to be a lot better than if you send them an email 2 weeks later and all of that energy is just lost. You're risking, maybe they just got in a fight with their girlfriend or their husband or whatever. They're in a bad mood, and then all of a sudden they see that email from you asking for a testimonial, and that's how you end up with a testimonial that says like, he was a great guy and I recommend him. Well, that's a shitty testimonial. You want something a little bit better, right? You want something specific, a specific result. So that's the strategy that I teach a lot of my clients, is ask in the moment, and you're going to get those kind of crazy reviews where they say like, he did this for us, it transformed everything, blah, blah, blah.
Well, oftentimes I find clients are sending reviews without knowing it. They're just like, this is amazing. I can't believe you did that. Like, it's just, and it's in the conversation that they've said,
but it's not being captured. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not being captured. You'd have to capture it and get maybe a permission from them and all that. But you're right. This is something, guys, man, I recommend this huge. Like, just definitely as soon as you deliver, before they get a chance to, they're happy you've tested the product. Like for me and my business, right, they have to test the work we've done and whatnot. But it's usually like welcomed with excitement. But longer, 2 weeks or whatever, there may be some things that come up. It's technology, right? But then that testimonial will become we ran into a few things, but I mean, overall it was really great. But it's that like we ran into a few things, and those few things are just sometimes out of our control. It's like the internet. What can I do?
Yeah. It's not about like, oh, we ran into a few things. It's because like you said, that's out of your control. What is in your control is how you react, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. We could get that into that on another day, but because that's huge.
Yeah.
And now you have the third pillar.
So the third,
I know what this one is.
Yeah. So the third pillar is, at this point, so now you got the offer, now you got a good reputation that you built out. Now you need a place to showcase all of that. So, I tell my clients, it's kind of like a digital billboard. Think of it like that. So what we do is we build a landing page, which is a one-page website that's designed specifically to generate leads. So this is a page where you can showcase that unique selling proposition. You can showcase those reviews. You can showcase those pictures of your work, and you only have one call to action on here, which is to get a free quote. So this webpage is designed specifically for generating leads.
Just like, I mean, certain industries, they need to have many pages and data and info and all that. Your industry doesn't. Well, maybe your industry has to, show proof of concept, like their case studies and things like that. But if I go to your website, it is totally it's direct, right? Because you're like, there's not much more you could really provide except for this is what I can do. And you are providing the proof, and you're providing some good media, some good press that you've had on Rogers TV.
Yeah,
so
I mean, and
it doesn't need to be hyper complex, like almost like you could use a landing page for your entire website, which is what I've done right now. Just like, it's
absolutely
simple.
You don't need to overthink it. As long as you're communicating the value you bring and you're showing your unique selling proposition, and you're having some good proof on there. And when you guys go over to my website, you'll actually see I'm giving away a free case study of how we got 52 leads in 1 month. So it's a little bit on my website. I'm not just asking for, if you want to have a call with me, we could do a strategy call, but there's also a lead magnet on there if you'd like to download it. So my website has a little bit more of what, what I'm talking about in the step marketing method, but all you really have to do is just build a very simple one-page website that just shows, here's what we do, here's who we help, here's some pictures of our work, here's what people are saying about us. Let's talk. That's pretty much
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to say this out loud, but I mean, you're just call Matt. Like, I mean, it's simple, right? You're so low pressure. You're like me. It's like, do you want it? No. Okay. Like, it really, and sometimes you say no a lot too. And like me, like, I'll say no 50% of the time almost.
Yeah. In fact, what we found in our agency is that we're actually turning more people away than we've actually accept now, and people will be like, well, why is that, Matt? Why wouldn't you want to grow your business and take on, as many clients as you can and do all that? It's because I'm a big believer in really staying in your lane and being a specialist. And so now I think of myself as a marketer. I actually look at myself as an investor too. So when a client comes to me and they want a marketing campaign, advertising campaign done, I think to myself, okay, what is the opportunity here? Not just for them to get leads and all that, but what is the long-term opportunity of us to be working together? Because I don't see myself as simply just like a service provider. We run like a two-month campaign, and then it's kind of just like, cool, that went well, I got leads, see you, man. I want to be a partner with a business. I really want to be that trusted marketing advisor for a business where they can confidently feel that, all right, Matt's got all the marketing handled. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And now we can focus on selling and providing the service and all that. So I really look at myself as an investor. So if someone's coming to me and it sounds like, just a short-term play, a gimmick, or if it sounds like something that I don't feel like I can really knock out of the park or anything like that, then I'll say no, because it's more energy expended than the amount that I think that I'm going to get back. So I'm very selective about who I take on these days.
And you also want winners, right? You want every single project that you take on to be a winner, and that'll build up the testimonials. You'll have nothing but people saying great things about you if you just take on winners.
Exactly. Yeah.
And by winners, I'm not talking about people. I just mean like you're like, wow, I see a lot of potential and opportunity here. We can do a lot.
And that's why I'm saying I'm an investor too.
Yeah. No, I like that term. Very, very cool. Haha. Pillar number 4.
All right. So now that you got a landing page, you got the offer on there, reputation's pretty good. So now what you need is a way to get people to actually come to that page, right? So that they can actually convert. So you need traffic. That's what it's called, visitors. So, there's a lot of different ways to get traffic. You can post on Facebook, you can do all social media, you can do SEO, you can do whatever. Really what it comes down to is understanding which traffic source you need to reach the person you're looking for to bring them to that site. Now, for what we do with a lot of contractors is we found that a lot of people will Google, best kitchen remodeler Toronto or something like that. And so they're Googling and looking. And so what we found, what works really good for traffic for our clients is Google Ads. So we like to pay Google to put them to the top 5 search results so that they can be certain their ads are going to show for when someone searches for that. And then they click that, and then that will bring them to the page. Now, you can do something like Facebook ads, Instagram, whatever, but you need some kind of traffic source to bring people to that page. And you need to make sure that they're qualified so that they're not coming to that page and be like, what is this? Mm-hmm. So there needs to be congruency between the traffic and the landing page.
Awesome. It might be a good time to plug this, but Matt's actually the original co-founder of Off the Cuff. And last year we were doing a lot of videos together, right? And we talked about the differences with Facebook and Google, how Facebook is more of a suggestive marketing. So it's kind of putting it out there so that the more you see it, the more sticky factor it gets. Whereas with Google, it's more of people who are ready. So they're typing and they're actually looking and ready now to work with someone.
And man, I just got to say too, it's amazing too what you've done with this podcast, that you really ran with it, and like it's incredible. And so far, like, you're doing a fantastic job. I mean, this is one of the best interviews I've been on. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Very cool. Well, I'm so excited to have you. I was thinking about that going like, we're going to like be connecting again. This will be like Matt and Mitch again. So after traffic, so we've gotten this traffic, it's coming in. We have a beautiful landing page that just is like, wow, how can I say no? We've got real people saying real things, and it just, the guarantees are there. The offer is beautiful. What comes after that?
So, every single person who comes to that landing page, they're probably not going to, convert on the right shot. Most of our landing pages, we have one of the highest converting landing pages from cold traffic. And that's from years and years of testing and the offers and all that stuff. But, the largest amount of people aren't going to convert right on the spot. They're going to think about it. Maybe they got to talk to someone, blah, blah, blah. And so we need to figure out a way to follow up with the people who have submitted a quote so that they can talk to the owner and move forward. But we also need to figure out a way to retarget the people who haven't, right? And so that's where automation, retargeting, and I just call it follow-up. Mm-hmm. That's where follow-up comes in. And you can kind of think of it as a virtual salesman, right? It's like you had a look at the pitch and the offer, and maybe you weren't quite ready to buy right there, but the money's in the follow-up. So in this step is where we do the follow-up, and we get retargeting ads in front of someone, or follow-up emails, so that someone can be confirmed and that they can know, okay, like I'll go for this. Sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. Retargeting is that stuff where it creates a sticky factor, right? We're looking, but the more you see it, my dad bought a $60,000 truck from retargeting. He calls me up and he says, every website I go to, I've got this Ford F-150 that's just keeps popping up. I guess it's a sign. And he goes and buy it. Like, he usually went out and bought a truck, right? But I was like, wow, you've been retargeted. This stuff really works. Like, he thought it was a sign from the universe that he needs to get this truck that he went to Ford.com to look at, right?
Oh, wow.
So they were retargeting and they ended up getting the sale.
Man, that's really cool.
So retargeting works. Anyway, I do it with Facebook. I don't touch Google.
Yeah.
Google's different.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences between like Facebook and Google. There's so many differences between the two. But just, you said it yourself, is like, I find personally that I like Google because the people who use Google are looking to buy now, whereas the people on Facebook, they're being targeted just off their interests. So for our agency, we specialize specifically in Google Ads.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing the stuff with that we can target in Facebook, and I'm pretty good at getting down right to the audience, but you really need to stick with it, right? It's like a billboard that's on the side of the highway. Eventually you'll notice it, but a lot of people really don't see it in the beginning. So if you're looking for results in 1 month, like you have an event to host or products to sell, and you clearance, like I need to get rid of this stuff. That's where I go, like, no, Facebook's not your thing, and I don't want to just take your money for that. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So very cool. Yeah, I mentioned I was working with Frank Kern. He talks about intent-based branding.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I don't know why that came up, because that was what we're talking about in the first pillar. So now that we have retargeting, traffic retargeting, and all that, we're only at like the 6th pillar.
Yeah. So I think that was 5. So then
wow.
Yeah. So then the next step now is like, okay, now you got leads coming in through this thing, and it's got follow up, and you're paying for ads, and it's going like this. It's working, right? Hopefully, if you've done the research and the offer right. So now next, what you got to do, and what I always recommend to my clients, is investing in what's called your SEO. So maybe that's your local SEO, your website SEO. Now that you've got this paid traffic source working, we want to build up an asset for you that's going to be a long-term investment. So with a lot of my clients, what that is local SEO. So basically what this is if someone is searching for services local in your industry, let's say you're a bathroom remodeler, and someone's typing in bathroom remodeler near me. This is becoming a very popular way for people to search things online. Mm-hmm. Bathroom remodeler near me. Well, Google is going to show a bunch of Google Map business listing results that come up. And it's going to show the ones that are highly rated. It's going to show the ones that are closest to them. It's going to show the ones that have the keyword that they're looking for in there. So it all comes down to basically relevancy, and that Google is trying to show. So in this step, basically, we identify some quick and easy wins for organic SEO, so that when people are searching locally for a service, that you're going to be able to show up more. You're going to be more likely to show up, and so that this can be another traffic source for you. So someone can call or click on it and go to the landing page again. You don't have to pay for this service ongoing like Google Ads or Facebook. Right. Make sense?
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. The only Google stuff we touch, right, is SEO.
Yeah.
And we just bundle it with our website stuff. It's like included in the monthly service fee. But yeah, Near Me works really, really well for local companies with SEO too, we found.
Yeah, because people, the way they search now with like Siri and all that, is they'll be like, show me your best restaurant near me. And so that's how Google now is working, because, Google Home, and people are searching, it all wants to be integrated and work like that, right? So so that's the next strategy that we use.
Right. I think I've been using Near Me for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Just to get because I don't remember quite the stores that are around me. So I'm like, what's that place again? And I'll put I don't know, clothing store near me. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Very cool. So that was pillar number what?
That was 6.
That was 6. And we have a final pillar.
So the final pillar, you got people coming to this thing. The final pillar is social media, and we don't necessarily do when I say social media, I'm not saying like social media advertising, like paying for advertising. We do that for a select few of our clients, but what we recommend for this step is posting like 3 to 5 times per week on your social media, and just basically showing proof and pictures of your work. Mm-hmm. And what I always recommend is transformations, before and after type stuff. So like before is a picture of maybe a bathroom or a backyard, and then after, and you see like the awesome results. So before and after pictures, it's really powerful, because you'll see this a lot in the weight loss industry, and their advertising, they show like, the person who's like their guts sticking out and all this stuff, and then they show them like a couple months later and they're like ripped, and it's like, oh my God, this transformation. Transformations are super powerful for selling. And so that's what we do. We post before and after transformations, and it's not necessary to generate leads. It's so that when someone finds the landing page and then they're doing research, they come across the page, and it's just that extra little bit of proof of confirmation that this isn't a fly-by-night company. This is a trusted company that's doing great work, and that, you know, they put pride in their work and they're willing to put it out there and show.
Absolutely. Wow, man. And you have a system for that, right? When you work with your clients?
Yeah, we do. It's all very systemized and extremely strategic. And I have an awesome team behind me that helps me implement all that stuff. So it's not just me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Matt's got his shit together.
Thanks, man.
Brilliant. So Matt, you also enjoy traveling the world, but you can't go anywhere.
I was just talking to my girlfriend yesterday. We're planning on going to Thailand.
Cool.
Yeah.
My cousin's there now. She's been there for 3 months. Like, have you moved? Or just looks amazing. She's like, there, I don't know what, like, you know, like the whole world seems like on lockdown, but she's out there partying right now. So I don't know. I guess that's the place to be.
Yeah. No, yeah, I got a couple ideas. And so yeah, that's on hold for now, but
Right.
you know, I can always travel to my local park or skate park on my bike right now. So
Well, that's cool. You have a like super huge passion of that. And what's the highest you jumped this year?
oh man,
Wall jump?
well, you know, because I'm not doing I used to compete and do all that, but my highest record ever of a lateral jump, like so from no speed just up, is just over 50 inches, which was 53 inches, and that's just
About 4 feet.
Yeah, it's 4.5 feet.
Yeah.
So if you take that out, it doesn't sound that high, but if you put up a measure tape, like you'd be like, wow. You know, it was.
Yeah, but that's without even touching the wall, right?
That's not touching the wall.
That's like just like a hop, and then you're standing on it. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's 10 years of practice. So.
Well, that's fun. So in terms of this, clients that come to you and they'll say like, I don't know what I have. I don't have anything. Like everybody thinks their business is unique, but when you ask them something like, do you have anything that really could stand out? And they're like, I don't know. Like everybody else kind of does what I do. I just do it better. What would you tell them?
Well, I would say that, you know, so let me back up. A lot of people, what they'll say is like, we're going to exceed your expectations. We're going to exceed your expectations. We do it better than everyone else. We're the highest quality, best quality every time. That's a bold promise to make.
And that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's a very bold promise to make. And coming from a marketing agency, to be able to promise that every time and to fulfill on that and keep people happy up with that, very risky to do. And I'll tell you why, because shit happens. Sometimes you're going to be doing jobs, you know, and you're going to be delayed because of rain. You know, one of my clients last year, the rain season in the spring lasted a lot longer than he thought. So his jobs were all kind of delayed, pushed back. That's outside of his control. Could you imagine if he had, you know, best quality or best service guarantee, like on time guarantee? You can't guarantee that. So,
yeah.
You know, if you say like best job guarantee, you really have to have the proof to back that up. Like otherwise people, whether it's conscious or unconscious, are going to start to not trust you. So you need to figure out something that you can guarantee every single time and honor it and be in almost full control of it. Yeah.
That's really cool. So if we go to your website, savantmarketingagency.com, we can put our name and email, get a free case study.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you have anything, do you have like you talk about, there's so much substance to it. Does that come after when we start working with you?
Oh yeah, 100%. So like, you know, I'm not like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, honestly. But you know, when people, especially my clients, when they come to me, the magic really happens in the offer and in the strategy that we use for Google Ads. I've had some other media buyers and advertisers. We do calls together, and they've done calls with me because they're trying to kind of get a little bit of a hidden insight into kind of what we're doing because they're hearing about such great results. And, you know, advertiser to advertiser, I'll tell them kind of what we're doing. And they're just like, are you kidding me? That is completely counterintuitive almost to what everyone else is doing. And that's kind of what Savant Marketing is all about, is going the other way, is thinking about based off of what we see works rather than just what everyone else is doing. And so if you see a lot of what other marketing agencies are talking about and what they implement, it's all based off of theories and stuff that, maybe they learned in a course, or maybe they learned from a book. This is all tried, tested, and proven strategies that are rinse and repeat. And that's why we're one of the few marketing agencies, the only one that I know, who actually comes with a money back guarantee in your first 30 days if you aren't happy with the results. And that's very bold to promise, but it's because I'm extremely knowledgeable about the industry that we work with, and I'm very confident in our process of what we do.
Yeah, that's a very good promise to have. I mean, it's a fail safe. I feel so much better giving you my money if I know that after 30 days, I expect to see results.
Yeah, and it's stressful. It's stressful for me, to be honest, sometimes, because a lot of other agencies, and again, like, I don't want to be that guy who's kind of like that says that branding and stuff like that isn't important, but I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've talked to who have spent tens of thousands, of dollars going into a marketing campaign that is designed by a design and branding agency, trying to do advertising and make a client return on investment, when they should just stick to their lane and make logos and websites. Stick to your expertise, but don't be charging clients tens of thousands of dollars if your expertise is not in generating leads or anything like that. And that's why we are able to make the promise that we do, is because we don't do anything else. If I got someone that needs systems and automation and an extensive custom machine built for them, content machine, then I say, hey, you got to talk to Mitch. If I got someone who needs XYZ, then I say, you got to talk to this person. I refer that work out because I'm a strong believer in being a specialist, not a generalist.
Yeah, 100%. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I was a generalist for a long time.
Yeah.
With websites and things like that, but I'm really honing in on exactly what creating demand is. It's actually what I've worked on in the last while. But once you hone in, it feels so good too, because your mind isn't escaping, going elsewhere. For me, anyways, it was like that, getting confused and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, once you're focus driven and you've got like your lane, it's amazing how much power you have, right?
Well, it's funny you say that too, because it also makes you have a better pitch. A lot of the time after my strategy calls, my clients or prospective clients will be like, wow, you're one of the first people who've ever broken down a strategy, marketing strategy, so simple, step by step like that I can actually understand it. I actually feel like I understand the concept here, and we're not just throwing balls to the walls and just kind of like throwing anything at the wall and just see what sticks. And it's funny, I laugh when they say that, and I say, you know what, it's actually for me. It's not for you fully to understand, like it is, but it's for me, for our process, so that, because I'm also, it's easier for me when we're going down. I'm like, all right, step one, check. We've done the offer. Step two, check. Step three, check. And then that's how I'm able to get the results. So I'm a fan of simplicity. I'm a fan of systems. That's why I'm a big fan of your work too, because you're a systems thinker. And I'm a big fan of just staying in your lane and coming up with a rinse and repeat system that works over and over and over again, that is the least amount of customization and effort on your end, but provides the highest return on investment and profitability for the client or the results or anything like that. So that's kind of what I'm all about.
You are all about that.
Thank you.
I know this. Any last words you want to leave with the audience?
Yeah, I guess the last thing I would just say is just honestly go ahead and download the free case study on my website, because it's one thing for me to kind of talk about what we're talking about here through theoretical stuff, But in this case study, I'm literally going to walk you through one of the most important aspects, which is the offer of a particular client. And I'm going to reveal to you just how easy this can be, where you don't even have to introduce something free, like out of pocket, or discount your services, or go out on a limb to make some crazy bold claims like satisfaction guarantee or your money back or anything like that. So go ahead, get this free case study, because lots of people are just messaging me who aren't even clients, who just download and they say, hey, Matt, like, we downloaded the case study and I got the offer idea from you, and now we're doing our own offers and it's working. Thank you. So you can start making money and make this work for you, especially now with all this stuff that's going on right now. It's more important than ever to have a unique selling proposition. So go ahead and do that. And that's the one thing I would say. And then the second thing is just follow me on Facebook. I've recently had to start a new account due to some security issues, something going on weird with Facebook. So add me up on Facebook. Always down to talk to people and help people.
Yeah, you are. Very cool. So Matt Thibeau, call him, follow him on Facebook, be active. He's active. I have a quick little story actually, because you know this. I know that you've gotten messages out of nowhere from someone that you may not know. There's a lot of people on Facebook that are watching. They just watch. They don't participate. They don't like. They don't comment, but they're watching. And once you're active and you're on there every day and you're doing something and you're putting out interesting content like you are, it's funny, right? How the messages start coming in like, hey, I've been watching your stuff for a while now, and I really like what you're saying. So my thing is always to just be active. And I just recently hired someone to work on another project that I'm working on through Facebook. I've just been watching her for the longest time, and I never thought that in a wildest dream that I would actually need her services, because it's very, it's really out of line with what I do. But I've been watching, and I found her, and I'm so happy I did, because she's the exact person we needed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are always watching, and it's important to be visible. It's important to have proof, and it's important to be relevant, and it's important to be entertaining.
Yeah, entertaining is fun.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, I want to thank you for coming on. We're definitely going to do this again. As the months go by, I hope to have you on again, but it was
awesome.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, bye.